All right, Betty, who's up? Who's on deck next?
Marissa or Marisa. And her question is, what's changed in how we get the word out there since COVID? The whole landscape seems to have changed. Is there an obvious shift we need to make now?
The whole landscape seems to have changed since COVID. What do we? Well, let's hear from you directly. What are you noticing has changed?
So I work in education, in nature-based education, and I guess my demographic has been hit quite badly since COVID. So the sort of people that I'm working with are home educating, and they're not high earners, a lot of them. I mean, just to give you a context, before COVID, it was most of my business was word of mouth. And now I guess I've got half the number of people. So I suppose there are half as many who are putting the word out there for me. And yeah, people are just very cautious, financially, emotionally. I'm seeing confusion, I'm seeing anxiety, and yeah, I mean, there are a few things for me. I mean, I realize I need to be more strategic about marketing. I think I had an easy time before and it just kind of sold itself. Oh, I don't know, I'm using sold, but the word got out there and things just sort of ticked along. So I realize I need to do that and get over resistance around social media, which I am doing. But there's something possibly around maybe having to develop and step into something that serves the community more. I've also looked at changing the structure. So I registered as a social enterprise last September, but haven't quite got that up and running properly. So I've been looking at everything really and putting more things out there because my other hat is as an integral coach, development coach. So all of my work is developmental. I think that might be part of my niche in that not all land-based, nature-based work is developmental. So I offer a very particular container for children, but it also spans a big age range, and I work with adults as well. So yeah, and it's educational, so it kind of doesn't fit into the, I'm trying to sell something. It's like, actually, this is my vocation, and I just want to do right by young people and families. So
I got it.
Yeah.
A question. So are you doing this in person, or are you doing this online and teaching people how to do it locally?
No, I'm doing it in person.
Okay. And so you're noticing that whereas there was a big response before, there's just less demand, you're getting less numbers at this point ever since that.
And possibly more competition. There has been a move to, there are other provisions that are appearing that are nature-based. So I'm not the only person in the area anymore.
Have you asked your people why? Like the ones who are not, like, have you the people who used to respond who aren't, have you asked them like, hey, what's going on?
No, I haven't.
Okay, I highly recommend that. Just some direct asks. I mean, you can send an email to your list and saying, hey, just noticing there's been a huge drop off in response. Just want to make sure it wasn't something I said. Is it just that you found other people, or is it that there's money's just too tight, etc. Because there's a number of things that could change. One, our people might go broke, and so it's just the economy gets hit, or our particular people get hit. And there may be more people offering it. Now, if there's more people offering, then it just means that the ecosystem has become a bit more diverse, and the response to that has to be that we niche deeper. because if we stay at that, doing what we do, we're going to, it's not going to work. Yeah. So we've got to shift with the times. And I would also recommend, there's a video, if you just search on YouTube, Tad Hargrave Positioning Matrix, and I would go through that and I would really map out the scene. Like, what else is there and where do you fit in that? Who else is offering things? Where am I in this? You'll see that you make a little kind of quadrants, some grids. And I would really take this as an opportunity to reflect on the role that you want to play, on the position you want to have within all of this that's going on. What's to me, the big question around niching is, what's missing in the marketplace? What isn't there that people are wanting, that people are needing? Because if we go into a space that's so crowded, it's just
Had you muted?
sorry about that. So yes, those are my thoughts. Bless you for the work you're doing. It's so important. How does that all land? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I guess I've got one other thought, which is, what if my niche gets so clear that I often find myself kind of too far ahead of the collective in terms of maybe being able to identify problems and then addressing those, and somehow there's this kind of gap or this bridge that has to be created as well. So that's coming up. I've got a lot to think about, but thank you.
You're welcome. It's beautiful work you're doing.